Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So first of all, Mr. Mahmoud, you'll have 11 up to 15 minutes. I'm going to ask you about the three parts of IELTS speaking test. First of all, let me give you some snapshots about the test. So first of all, you will have part number one. It is like personal questions. You will be asked some questions about yourself. And part number two is going to be about long term. You will be given like a card and you have 1 minute to prepare the topic, 2 minutes, or 1 to 2 minutes to talk about it. The last part, actually, it is about discussion. And the discussion is going to be basically like roughly based on like part number two. Okay, are you ready?
Okay, yes, I'm ready.
All right, so can you give me your identification card, please?
Yeah, sure, with pleasure. Here it is.
Okay. All right, so what's your full name?
My full name is Mahmoud Oakley.
Do you work or study?
Well, I am working, I'm doing a part-time job at the moment, but I'm looking forward to be a full-time student soon.
All right, so Mr. Mahmoud, let's talk about your hometown. Can you describe your hometown, please?
Yes, so I come from Damascus, Syria, and it is a very beautiful city, and it's one of the oldest city in the world, and it has like two parts. There's the old city, and then there's the new city. The old city is like a lot of old buildings and landmarks, and the new city is the modern buildings and other stuff.
All right, so what do you like most about your hometown?
Actually, to be honest, there's a lot of stuff that I like about my hometown. First, like at the top of my head, the people, like the Syrian people are generally are like very friendly and very nice, very cooperative. And secondly, I would say the food. Also, I like our food a lot. So yeah, that's the most two
Okay.
things that I like.
All right, so what are the things like you really dislike about it?
Well, recently during the war, there has been a lot of like negative points that started to grow in my country. And it is because of the war and because like it's one of the effects of the war on my country. So these things I wish that we can get rid of it as soon as possible.
Okay, so Mr. Mahmoud, let's move to a new topic, which is accommodation. What kind of house or accommodation do you live in?
Well, do you mean here in Malaysia or in my hometown?
No, I mean here, like in the place that you're living now.
Okay, so here in Malaysia, I live in a condominium, like a served apartments, and it has like a lot of different facilities, and the neighbors are nice also, so I like it.
All right, so who do you live with?
I live with my parents now. I live with my parents and my little brother. We all share the apartment together.
Do you plan to live in the same place for a long time?
Uh, that's an interesting question, actually. Well, we have been living here for almost 5 years, and I really like it. Like the neighbors are really nice, and the facilities are really good, and they keep everything up to date in the building. So I think I'm not thinking to move like to another place anytime soon.
Mhm. How long have you lived there?
Uh, uh, it'll be 5 years next August.
Mhm. All right, so we'll try now to talk about a new topic, which is punctual. Do you think it is important to be on time?
Yes, actually, I strongly agree with this because like punctuality shows how a good person you are, and that you respect others people's time. And yeah, so I think it's very important to be a punctual person.
Mhm. How do you feel when others late?
Well, it depends actually. Like if the person has strong excuse to excuse his late, why he's late. Like if it's like there's a traffic jam, if there's like no buses to take, then I'll understand. But if they are just late for like no excuse, then I'll be like very upset. Actually,
Mhm. Are you yourself late very often?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Are you yourself late very often?
Actually, not all the time, especially because I have a car. So if I know that if there's like a traffic jam, I can like leave home, be like like before I need to get to the other place a good time.
All
Uh,
right.
so I don't consider myself to be late.
All right. Last question. Do you wear a watch?
Actually, not all the time. So sometimes yes, and sometimes I just because I can keep time on my phone. So I think it's not very necessary to wear a watch all the time.
Okay, Mr. Mahmoud, this is the end of part number one. Now we're going to move into like part number two.
Okay.
So actually, you have 1 minute to prepare about the topic and like 1 to 2 minutes actually talk about it. So your question is describe the person in your family who you most admire. So your minute has already started. All right, time's up. So now you can talk about it.
Okay. Well, if you can be allow me to describe a person in my family who I really admire. I would certainly talk about my father actually. So my father, his name is Mustafa, and he is 70 years old now, and I can like never thank him enough for the things that he has done to me in my life. So like since I ever remember coming to this world, my father took care of me in every aspect of life actually, in terms of accommodation, food and drink, like our food, our education. So I really think that he is a really patient person. He's a very strong person. He is a very hardworking person. He did everything he could to to give us like a good quality of life. And He is a communication engineer, telecommunication engineer. So he inspired me to do the same thing that to do the same thing that he did. So I want to be an engineer as well. And he is retired already now, so he just stays at home. And I think that him being with us is like such a blessing, and I thank God every day for this person to be in my life. Thank you.
All right, thanks. So this is the end of part number two. Now we'll move to part number three. So you will be asked a few questions roughly based on part number two.
Okay.
All right. So the first question is like, in what ways have families in your country changed recent years?
Families, you said?
Yeah.
Families. Okay. Well, uh, to be honest, that's like a really deep question. Um Families, even like especially in the last 10 years, has changed a lot, and that's because of the new things that came into their life, which is like the internet, which is TV. Actually, like in the past 10 years, it had like a huge impact on everybody. So I think nowadays families are very different than that like before.
Mhm. Should husbands and wives have different rules in family?
I'm so sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
I mean,
Can
should
you rephrase it?
husbands and wives have different rules like in the family?
Actually, in my opinion, I think it's necessary nowadays because with this new way of life, with this modern life, it's very hard for like just the man of the house to take care of everything. So I think the husband and the wife has to be very cooperative together to make success out of their family.
Mhm. All right, so the topic here now we're going to talk about is family or friends. Which are more important to you, your family or your friends?
Well, uh, for this question, I have to say family because family always has your back. Like no matter what you go through, you can always find a shelter in your family. But not always with friends, to be honest, because you'll be friends with someone for a long time, like a long period of time. But then over like one specific thing, you will find them like turn against you if they are not very loyal. So, but with families, you can you can never worry about that because family always has your back.
Great. So, what conflicts can arise between a person's family and person's friends?
I'm so sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Can you rephrase it, please?
I mean, what are the problems that may arise between a person's family and a person's friends?
Okay, that's a good question. Actually, the problems that can occur between these two parties is when most of the time it'll be when the if this person's friend is like teaching him or dragging him into something bad, like let's say drinking or smoking or like other stuff. So in this type of situation, I think the family can be like very fierce with this friend to they will try to keep him away from this person as much as possible because he's going to hurt him in the future.
All right. The last topic we're going to talk about in discussion is like family responsibilities. What responsibilities do parents have towards their children?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Actually, a lot of responsibilities. So nowadays, if you are a dad or a mom, you have a ton of responsibilities to take care of. Um, Starting with accommodation, with food, with clothes, with education. So with also like if your kids got sick, you, you're gonna have to take care of them as well. So I think nowadays the parents have a lot of responsibilities.
All right. So, what are the responsibilities do children have towards their parents?
Well, that's an interesting question, actually. Well, children also has a lot of responsibilities. They have to, uh, by their action, they have to make their parents look good in front of the other people because the kid reflects reflects what is he was taught at home. So he reflects his dad and his parents' morals and other stuff. And he has to be like good at school. He has to be responsible with his like allowance. Like when your parents give you money, you shouldn't like spend it all on your like personal leisure. You have to learn how to save money also to help your parents in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Mahmoud. This is the end of part number three and also the end of like IELTS speaking test. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.